Buckle up for another episode of Ghostfacers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun as always, it's my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Can't wait to do the first episode of Ghostfacers. Here we go. Strapped in. Yeah, we're sitting down for the first time in front of these mics. I can't wait. Oh my god, I can't. I hope people like this.
Reed, I don't really have a great way to tell you this. This is like the 30th something episode we've done of this show.
What? No, it's not. We just sat down. We're going to start episode 1, do the pilot.
This is season 2, episode 60.
We were going to record the pilot while driving your car.
You didn't make it through that first episode.
Oh my god.
I've been recording all of these episodes by myself for 2 seasons.
Oh my god.
Let's get into it.
Okay. Just go for that.
Ghostfacers! We're facing ghosts! We're others, we're not! We're ghosts! Ghostfacers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We're facing nightmare! We're facing dread! Ghosts! Ghostfacers! We're facing faceless! We're facing dead!
Welcome to Ghostfacers. Today we're discussing season 2, episode 16, Roadkill.
Yeah, this is the one with the flat possum.
You kill it, we grill it. Roadkill.
Ooh, yeah.
You ever go to Roadkill Cafe
No.
in Ontario?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah. I've never actually been.
Is it a real place? I thought that Roadkill Cafe was just like a colloquial term for people picking up roadkill and cooking it.
Oh, maybe.
Is there an actual Roadkill Cafe?
There must be a Roadkill Cafe.
There's no way that that's like health board approved.
Well, I doubt that it's
I thought
actually
that's
Roadkill.
that's why I thought it was just.
I thought they just called it Roadkill.
Oh, see, I thought the complete opposite, where Roadkill Cafe was like a slang term for picking up roadkill and bringing it home to cook it.
It could be.
Oh my god.
Before we get into today's episode, we have a review.
Hey!
Look at that. From Auntie Knowles via Apple Podcasts USA.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. The subject, "This is rad."
Wrong show.
They go on, a 5-star review. They go on to say, "Okay, so you can probably guess how I found you by the title of my review."
Love that.
Probably the This Is Rad podcast. Am totally loving this podcast and started rewatching the show with you. It's been a long time since I've seen these first 2 seasons. I can't wait to follow you through all 15.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's been a long road
Oh, God.
without you, my Dean.
I can't.
No. This episode aired March 15th, 2007.
Very nice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
It was written by Rael Tucker, one of the greats. Directed by Charles Beeson. I don't know if this is the first time we've had Charles.
Should I know that name?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. You said it in the cadence of like, hey, it's Kim Manners or something.
No.
That.
Then I also said I think it's the first time we've had this.
But that implying that there are more. I was like, oh, this is a guy that comes back later and I don't recognize his name.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Thanks for joining us, Chuck.
I'm just excited to be here. This episode was viewed. I'm just pushing through.
Oh, this episode was worth the wait.
Yep. Viewed by an estimated 3.52 million viewers.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty high numbers.
That's one of the higher ones for this season.
But we're usually sitting around the 3.3, so getting into the 5s is pretty decent.
Nice.
But we know why we're here.
To record a show.
No, we need to talk about your drinking.
Yeah. Okay.
No, we're your international titles.
Yay.
Roadkill.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming the words separately, I guarantee, are things probably everywhere. I'm assuming that everybody has probably some sort of terminology
Like
for dead animals.
Rio de los Muertos.
Maybe not like one for one, but like some sort of terminology. That's not what anybody did, though.
Okay. All right.
No one did roadkill, period.
Right.
There was nobody who 1-for-1 was getting roadkill.
Which I guess means it's not like a term in other places.
My guess? I'm not sure. So the first one, who got it the closest? This is usually how I try to do it. I go from close to farthest.
Poland?
Poland, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
There's this killing road.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah, that's not bad. The next one, Hungary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Road of Death or something
So
like
close.
that. Yeah.
So close. Death Road.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. See? I really like this next one, though.
Okay.
Finnish.
Finnish one. Okay, what was theirs?
Swallowed by the road.
Ooh.
Is that in Dean's new nicknames? the road?
Jesus Christ. Swallowed by the road?
Swallowed by
That's
the
not
road.
really what happens. At all.
Oh no, did you see that truck?
But it's very visceral.
Did you see that giant truck coming? I think it's an oversized load.
Hope the road doesn't try to swallow. Yeah, it's better than the alternate title, Spat Out by the Road.
I like Snowball Road.
Jesus Christ. That is vile. Good Lord.
Next is Brazil.
Brazil. Ghost Road.
Oh, so close. So close. You're just going too short. This is the ghost of the road.
Okay, good.
Right?
Good.
I like it in the actual language. O Fantasma de Estrada.
Ooh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot. Love this one.
Okay.
German.
Oh, she does not know she is dead.
No, that's too. You're getting too esoteric there. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
no. Think like it's one of those moments where it's like
Spoiler alert, by the way.
yeah. It's one of those moments where it's like, well, yes, but like that's not at all the point. Like very factually accurate,
Right.
Not at all the point.
Oh, it's like Creepy Shed or something like that.
More weirdly specific and
Okay.
like not connected.
Then I'm not sure.
Highway 41. Or Autobahn 41.
Yeah, sure. All right.
I was like, I mean,
Like Germans are going to be like, oh, fuck, Highway 41?
Oh,
Did they say they
yeah.
were doing an episode about Highway 41?
yeah, not like Route 666 or something like, no, Highway 41.
That's a title that's given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know we're missing one though.
France, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless Italy had a really spicy meatball.
No. I got nothing from Italy this week.
All right, so from France, oh God, I don't know. What are we going to call this? We're going to call this the Long Street of Sorrow or something like that.
No, they went real broad with this one.
Broad.
Yeah.
Okay. Road.
No, that's too specific.
That's too specific.
Yeah.
Road.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Episode? Do they call this episode?
Slightly before that.
Jesus Christ. What do they call this?
Le temps de adieu.
Time to say goodbye?
Yeah.
That's very poetic. Yeah.
I was like, that's a thing. I guess at the end, like, I don't think that's like it doesn't put a button on the whole thing or something.
No, but that one makes more sense than a lot of French titles.
I mean, I suppose, but Road would have been better. What is this episode? It's the end. They say goodbye. Don't they do that on every episode? Yeah, but this one it's more like meaningful.
Yeah, it's Highway 41.
So, what do you call the very last episode of the series then? We will never say goodbye again. Obviously, this is no longer a time to say goodbye because you won't be.
It is funny to call it a time to say goodbye in the middle of the season. Yeah, that's true.
Very funny. Some featured music for this episode.
Sure.
Only one song.
Oh, Car.
Do you know what it is?
I don't remember.
Because you didn't watch the episode beforehand, did you? The House of the Rising Sun by the Animals.
Oh, God, really?
That's the song. It's like a big part of this whole episode.
Well, we'll see about that.
I mean, we won't because we're not watching it. I'm just going to recount it, and I'll maybe I'll have to sing it while we.
I would love that.
There is a house.
Never mind. I take it back. I don't like this.
They call it. TV Guide describes this episode as a fatal motor accident from 1992 leaves an
Spoilers.
Leaves an angry apparition haunting a remote stretch of highway. I mean, yes, I know.
I know, but like, fuck you, TV Guide.
It's not.
That's the crux of the whole goddamn episode.
Yeah, but you could be just referring to the guy and not. Technically, I think it's fine still.
This feels shifty.
And Sam and Dean try to lay it to rest.
Oh, God. Oh,
Lay me to rest.
Lay me to rest.
Well, except for we won't be resting.
Lay pipe me to rest.
Well, why don't we get into today's episode? But before we do, let's open up Dad's journal and talk about some of the real world lore on today's monster.
Yeah, well, not today's monster.
Fucking goddamn it.
Let's see what the lore says about mortality. Talking about dying.
Wow. That's the
And let me tell you, I have been looking forward to this.
Why are you just opening up your journal?
Don't look at this.
Yeah.
It's my live journal.
Day 31, it won't stop. Why won't it stop?
Only 31 days?
Well, yeah, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
That's
we're talking about mortality. So very, very simply speaking, mortality just refers to the fact that a thing dies.
yes, and of course, like both of us, we can both die.
Dracula?
But no, I'm not Drake. I am normal man named.
How many mortals are in this room? One, two mortals.
Yes,
Hey.
that's right. I am Richard. Normal mortal man.
Yeah. Very normal mortal name.
Yes, we are both.
That's Gru.
Yes, we are both normal human men with both delicious blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how you describe friend, right?
Oh no. So yeah, mortality refers to the fact that a thing can die. In a lot of religions, but specifically we'll talk about Christianity because it's the thing that at least we as white people in the West have the most exposure to.
And obviously being the one true right religion.
And of course, because it's correct.
Yeah.
We always you hear in religion the idea of the immortal soul. They never say like we are immortal. They make a distinction between like your shell, like your corporeal body, which is mortal, and your soul, which can go on forever, which is immortal.
Are you trying to say that it's weird to say I am specifically mortal? Is that strange? That's what human normal men say, right? Totally alive, non-blood drinking men.
I am very normal mortal person. I have mortal things in house. I have mortal desk. I have mortal briefcase. Over there, that big stick over there, that is big stick onto which I ejaculate is my mortal combat.
Jesus. Are we playing Twilight Baseball? Because the stretch you had to make to get to that bat.
Come on, that's a great joke.
The
Mortal Kombat.
Did you think of Mortal Kombat and then we're like, how do I get to it?
I mean, I'm never not thinking about Mortal Kombat. Finish him. Ooh.
Oh, that's the unrated version of that Twilight scene.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, we got to get back to this. So, death and dying, right? The idea of mortality is the thing that has like driven people to religion. It drives people to do crazy things. It's the thing behind like legends like the Philosopher's Stone or other kind of things that were like you maybe are trying to seek immortality. You're trying to put off death. You're trying to stave it off, stay either forever young or just keep living. You know, in pop culture, like the Portrait of Dorian Gray, all these sort of things are preying on the fear of the fact that we die.
Which is the thing we both do.
But here's
I'm 30 in 70.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a good joke.
It will be. Don't worry. We'll get there.
There's a crazy sort of I feel like we've talked about Carl Jung a lot in the last several episodes, or possibly a couple of episodes yet to come, because we've been recording out of order. But
to combat.
Yeah. But there's this crazy sort of like shared phenomenon of people who experience like their moment of death, but because of medical science and technology, return to life. We hear about things like seeing the bright light. That's like such a trope, right? Like walk towards the light, and or we see people that say like they see dead family members who are like beckoning them, or say like we've been waiting for you, or things like that. These all feed into like our conceptions of possible religious afterlives, things like heaven or whatever you kind of believe, right?
I had a near-death experience once, and I felt like I was going towards my family, and they were just like, "What are you doing? Go home! No, nobody walk home."
Your family were also Draculas?
No, that was my Jewish accent. It's very close. It's a similar part of the world.
I don't think you changed the accent at all.
No, because it's this or it's this. Very different.
To blood, like I am, like I am, to blood.
Dracula on the roof.
Only at night. Seeing dead family members, bright light, even the idea of like the your life flashing before your eyes. You're seeing like memories of great moments or things like that. All of these things seem to be a shared phenomena for people that have these sort of near-death experiences. So when you're, let's say in the case of like a heart attack, your heart stops and your blood stops flowing, which means your brain is in a deficit of fresh oxygen for a bit. And there seems to be like some scientific evidence that supports the idea that it's kind of last maneuver to try and keep itself going on hoping that more oxygen will come is to sort of put parts of your brain into like overdrive. And those are the things that might cause like visions, auditory hallucinations, things like that, where you might see family members or you might experience the light or things like that. It's interesting that it's almost always the same.
Yeah.
And from what I can tell, I'm not exactly sure if it's because we also feed into it. Like a couple of people experience that, and then we make that the thing.
It's like the gray alien thing. Yeah.
And then, exactly. And then we have that in our brains. So then when our brains do it, it's pulling from that.
Well, and there's like collective unconscious too, right?
Well, so that's the Jungian thing. You would argue that there must be like an archetype of death or something like that. And we all are drawing from these archetypal images of light and sound and angelic choirs or things like that.
I'd be curious
because no one has a near-death experience. It's like, I saw Satan, he's waiting.
I saw darkness, absolute darkness.
Yeah, like bad people also say they see the, you know what I mean? Like it's not like we're like. It's always the same thing. It's not like oh fuck, I just dodged hell. No one wakes up and says that. Like,
it's not a little dark and a little light. I'm not sure which way I'm going.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm undecided.
Yeah, everything was kind of gray for a while.
But it's that I find that kind of fascinating. It's interesting too that like the brain kind of does that almost like as a means of like calm. Like if you're still unconscious, you would think that doesn't matter, but your brain is like, here's like something pleasant on your way out.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, it's also weird to talk about it where it's like your brain is different from you, because it's not, but it's that like, yeah, there's a thing about like it'll numb pain, like physical pain and stuff like that too. Like your brain is working really hard to make the transition to death easy on you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, then you wonder like why that reflex. Like if you just die, why is your brain doing that?
We should figure it out. You want to test some stuff?
Flatliners?
Yeah.
You want to do flatliners?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, but so then this idea of these what is, if you have somewhat religious beliefs, or we're talking about the veil or something like that, like on Supernatural, this sort of between the full afterlife and whatever, then we're talking about like, if you're technically dead, do you have a foot in, like Dean at the start of this season?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the whole point of Flatliners, is they were like entering this other space, and the longer they could stay under, the more they could experience it and stuff like that.
I can't remember what the movie was. I watched a movie recently that was, somebody did an experiment and found out that like there definitively was a heaven, and so everybody in the world just started killing themselves
Oh, Jesus.
because they just wanted to get there.
But isn't that the thing that makes sure you don't go there?
Well, I don't know if you're like,
Right. I guess just because there's a heaven doesn't mean that the books we wrote about
Yeah,
are right.
yeah,
That's true
yeah.
too, yeah. Oh, that's fucked up.
yeah. It's what's his name from It's Always Sunny, the big guy who's also in Freaks and Geeks. What's his name?
Oh,
Yeah.
him?
Yeah, he's in it. He's like the
Oh,
main
shit.
character. It's like his dad or something creates the technology, or like does it. Yeah.
Oh, insane. That's crazy. I like there's a pop culture thing that I don't bring into this show that much, but I bring into our other podcast a lot, that I want to talk
other
about.
podcast.
That I want to talk about, which is, I mentioned the mortal body, immortal soul.
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings,
Oh God.
they present two basically opposite versions of what death might mean, and they do it in like the two main, paraphrasing, children of God.
Yeah.
So elves are like long lived, but they can be killed.
Yeah.
But when they die, their souls go to the Undying Lands, and then they just chill there. So
Is
like
this the same place that they go with the elves at the end of the?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they still get to exist. For men, the idea is like the gift of men is that they get to end.
Whoa.
Like elves get to live forever, basically, and the gift of men is they don't. And it's like it's written like that. That's like a special privilege for men.
Oh wow.
So when they die, their spirits do not go there. I think they might go to like a place, but like they don't exist. Like they're not like hanging around man heaven. Like, hey, what's up? What's up? Oh God, man heaven. Ooh.
Are you found my Dean calendar?
But I find that so fascinating. Like the idea that like obviously we have no way to prove it.
Yeah.
But like maybe our brains are giving us like nice last things because there's nothing ahead of us, or maybe they're giving us nice last things because it's a transition to something else afterwards, and we need that to be able to cope with it, which of course is a big part of this episode, is like the idea of transitioning between life and death.
Maybe we just wake up and we've been in the simulation the whole time.
Yeah, they unplug us, we eat our gruel slop, and we go like
Put me back in.
and we go fucking a cave orgy.
Yeah. Put me back in. I want the steak.
Oh God, yeah. Joe Pantoliano was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag Joe Pentaloni was right.
Oh God. So yeah, there you go. Mortality.
Wow. What an uplifting way to get into today's episode.
Oh, sorry. Was it supposed to be happy?
Oh no, I've never come in with the expectation that you are going to bring the happiness. Don't worry about that.
Okay, good. I just don't want unreasonable
Expectations, yeah. Well, with that, why don't we get into today's episode? Yeah. Okay. See ya. We have our opening teaser. It's 12:50 a.m. February 22nd.
Okay.
Come with me.
It was just you said of course, and then I was like, all right.
Molly and David are driving down on the dark desert highway. Cool wind in the hair.
Yeah. Warm. That's Hotel California.
Yeah, I know.
It's not House of the Rising Sun. Wait a minute.
Tricked you. Appearing to be lost. They're essentially they're driving pretty quickly in the middle of the darkness. They're trying to figure out where they're going. The two of them have been on this road for about over an hour, and haven't seen a single car. Looking at the map, David insists that they are not lost because he's a man.
Yeah, I don't need to pull over for direct. It's like it's the most.
They even like make a comment in this. They were like, "Don't you think you're being a little like stereotypical right now?" And he says,
But also, it's the middle of the night and no one's there. Like, where would he pull over?
I know.
Yeah.
But that's also, she was like, there was like, we passed a gas station.
Oh, yeah, right.
And he's like, yeah, 40 minutes ago. We're not like,
not turning around 40 minutes.
Yeah. And he says, he's like, I know exactly where we're on Highway 99. A few seconds later,
They're on Highway 41.
well, a few seconds later, they pass a sign which reads Highway 41. And he's like,
all the German viewers were like, no, you are not on Highway 99.
I already knew.
Das ist not
Gut.
Autobahn 99.
Yeah, exactly. They are not 41 Luftballons. So when he says that they're on Highway 49 and the actual sign, our service Highway 41, that sign pops up. On Highway 99 near where it crosses Highway 41, there is a street called Jensen Avenue.
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Because of this or just coincidentally?
I didn't get that information.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. David corrects himself by saying they're just taking the scenic route.
Sure.
Which is a thing that my mom used to say when we were lost as kids.
So you had like some
Yeah.
memories.
I was like, oh yeah, that was a bullshit my mom pulled
Wait
up.
a minute. We weren't taking the scenic route
Yeah.
at all.
No. Or she would say, we're having an adventure. That was the other one she would do.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, that adventure can be bad. There's bad adventures.
Yeah.
Like you're taking a ring all the way to a fucking volcano.
What are you talking about? Scenic Middle Earth.
Yeah. But Molly is none too amused by to be spending their anniversary in their car.
Yeah, it's all. I feel like that's a setup in a lot of these shows too, where like this guy probably forgot it was their anniversary. It was like road trip and just jammed a bunch of stuff in the truck. They didn't even pack properly, and he was like, see, I've been planning this for a while.
Yeah.
And then he's just fucking lost because he's like, I have no idea. I'm just gonna drive until I find something.
Yeah, exactly. David, trying to make up for their current situation, starts acting playfully, causing Molly to take her eyes off of the road.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. After David sees something in the road and screams,
Yeah.
she focuses and immediately jerks on the brake. You can kind of see the figment of like a man on the road.
Yeah.
When she sees a man standing in the middle of the road, causing her to drive off the highway, down the hill, and into a ditch and to smash directly into a tree.
Yeah. It's a great effect.
It's
a great effect. It's a good crash.
Yeah. It feels like a big effect for the show.
Yeah, and it's one of those like move fast, stop quick. Like it's got a real hard impact. Like
every time it still makes me jump a little bit when they hit that tree.
It's a very good one. It's up there with the crazy truck thing from the end of last season.
You get more it's more visible in this one.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's also because they were just like we learned our lesson with the truck. We know how to shoot.
Yeah.
And this is simpler. Yeah.
Yeah, just throw it down the hill. It's easy. Yeah.
Wait a minute, were the people still in there? Oh God.
Oh no. Molly awakens without a scratch on her.
Yeah.
Although she still struggles to get out of the car, David is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
She screams his name frantically, but there's no answer. Molly starts walking further into the woods, calling David's name several times. In the distance, she sees a farmhouse slightly lit.
Yeah.
She proceeds towards the house and enters through the front door. When she walks in, she sees a man from the road standing in the corner in like that Blair Witch kind of way.
Yeah, very creepy.
Ugh.
Extremely creepy.
Yeah. He turns around and is gushing blood from his stomach.
Which is not great.
That's probably a bad sign, right?
Generally.
Yeah. He transforms then into a skeleton and vanishes.
Yeah.
Molly bolts out of the house in a flash and runs back through the woods and up the hill to the road. In the distance, she sees headlights of a car and darts out in front of it. Not a great idea.
Well, but I mean, it's die in a car accident or die from blood ghost.
Yeah, fair. Screaming for it to stop. What is it? Oh, it's Sam and Dean in the Impala, baby.
Yeah.
It screeches in front of her and stops. The boys hop out of the car and Molly explains to them that she was ran off the road.
Yeah.
And the car is crashed and she wants to go right back where she came to. Her husband, David, was missing and the man from the road started chasing her. Sam and Dean ask Molly to come with them so that they can get her somewhere safe. They're being very actively trying to get her out of the situation.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They're just like, let's just go. Let's just go into town. Why
Before
don't
we
go into
even
town?
investigate whether you're being chased by a person or a ghost, we should get you out of here.
Yeah, exactly. And she does not want to cooperate and asks them to take her back to her car that she asked. Upon arriving at the crash site, Molly is stunned to find that her car is gone.
Yeah.
As if no accident had ever occurred.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the first time I watched this episode, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, because it's so crazy because we're so used to the setup of the cold open being divorced from the guides.
Exactly.
Like, we see the cold open, then later we see them flip open a newspaper and be like, this looks like our kind of thing. But for her to like in the middle of it run out into the road and then they're there.
Yeah.
Like they're implicated in it from the start. And it's a cool little twist on the normal setup for the episode. It does make it feel special.
Yeah.
Like, it makes this episode stand out because it's just slightly messing with form a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Molly can't understand what could have happened to it and walks down the hill. Sam tells Dean that they need to get her out of there because that man could show up at any minute. Dean says if they tell her the truth, she'll take off running in the other direction.
Yeah.
Which, again, the first time I was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
But she did also just literally look at a skeleton. I guess she didn't tell them that she saw a skeleton.
No.
Yeah,
No.
you're right. Yeah.
However, they do convince Molly to come with them. As they're driving down the road, Molly tells them that she and David were supposed to be in Lake Tahoe for their 5-year anniversary. All of a sudden, the radio dial moves back and forth and then stops on a song which plays. There is a house in New Orleans.
They call the rising sun.
Yeah. Molly recognizes the song. The song was playing in the car when the crash took place.
Yeah.
In the background of the music, a small voice comes through, hissing in a low tone. She's mine.
Yeah. I love this shit too. Like the way ghosts interact with.
Yeah.
If ghosts give off EMF, then they're part of the electromagnetic spectrum as our radio waves.
Yeah,
so the idea of like how technology is interacting with spirits and stuff, like I do like how the show plays with that. I think that's good shit.
Well, I love because there's also this moment too where the music comes in and Dean's like, Sam, did you put this on? And he's like, no. And he's like, God, I really was hoping you didn't say you weren't going to say that.
Yeah.
Because they know it's like, okay, well, they take care of it. They take a hold of the radio. We know what's next, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the voice comes through saying she's mine. Looking down the road, Dean then sees a man standing out in front of the car, but doesn't hesitate at all and drives right through him. The girl, Molly in the background, is like screaming, like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And he just gets blown to dust. As they look back, nothing remains. A few seconds later, they are halted along the side of the road as the car dies.
Yeah.
Sam and Dean get out of the car and open the trunk, which is when Molly is officially freaked out after seeing an entire trunk loaded with weapons and starts to walk off.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, I'm out of here.
That's
like,
the right move.
Yep, this is weird. You brought me into your car.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got weapons. This is weird.
Yeah, you guys are good looking, but not good looking enough for me to overlook this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I agree.
Oh, I mean, listen.
I'd be like, what other kind of toys you got in there?
They lift up they lift up the first bit is the guns. They lift up another one.
The
It's
50 Shades of Grey,
Yeah.
like one, yeah.
the red trunk.
Oh, yeah. Dean yells out to Molly that it wasn't a coincidence that they were out here. He continues that they are tracking down this man they saw on the road. There was a moment first when they first encounter her where she's like, this guy's coming after me. And I think Dean says, like, does he look like a lawnmower, like chopped him in the face? And she's how would you know that?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, lucky guess. So now
Which is, again, it's such a bad line.
He's
Dean
so
is so
not
bad
good.
at
Yeah.
that.
He
It's like, lucky specific guess.
yeah, he gets better at it, but he's definitely really bad in these first few seasons.
I really love that.
They are tracking this man down who they believe is Jonah Greeley. He died 15 years ago on this road. Every year on the anniversary of his death, he haunts the road and the boys are out to stop him.
Yeah.
Which she's just like, this is complete bullshit. Like, are you telling? And they basically are like, you saw the guy, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, tell me that was
I
real.
know. The very classic thing where she knows what she saw, but she's like, I must be crazy because this is impossible.
Yeah.
Now, these guys are telling me it is possible. The only way I can be not crazy
Is if I just say
is
that
just to deny it constantly.
Yeah, which is funny. She does a really good job at playing sort of like scared and you may know this actress from Battlestar Galactica.
I was going to say, what is she from?
Yeah. She's also the mother in Lucifer.
Oh.
She plays the mom in Lucifer. She's Lucifer's mom.
Right.
She's in tons of stuff. She always plays this sort of like balance between like a bit chaotic, but also like a lot of strength.
Yeah.
She plays confused really well. I always really like this actress. I think she does a really good job.
Like many episodes of Supernatural, and in particular many episodes this season, she holds this episode down. This episode doesn't work without her doing like all of this crazy heavy lifting.
Also, not the last Battlestar Galactica character we're going to be getting.
No, that's true too. Yeah.
So,
that's right. It's Trisha Helfer. That's her name.
Yeah.
I think I could think of that. Yeah.
So Molly takes Sam and Dean back to the farmhouse where she saw Greeley. They're basically like, because she's like, okay, time for me to leave, and they basically go, well, no, we tried to leave.
Yeah.
You don't get to leave now. Yeah. Because this guy's clearly not going to let that happen.
Yeah, so stick with us.
Yeah. So now we got to go figure out how to deal with this. So where did you see him? So they go back to the farmhouse. The room that they enter contains several surgical tubes covered in stale blood, leading Dean to believe that the farmhouse was his hunting cabin. They look around trying to find Greeley's body so that they can salt and burn it. However, they find out that when Greeley died, his wife claimed the body, and that was the last anyone ever saw of her.
Right, so they won't be able to get him.
No, they're not going to be able to salt and burn the bones, right? So they can't find the body, so now they got to figure out another tactic. Most likely, she brought the body back here, but the property is 1,000 acres, and it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
So the boys waste no time as they still have sunrise to finish this job. And it's interesting because throughout this whole sort of beginning, Sam is being very sweet to this lady and is trying to sort of like help her, and Dean just has no fucking time for it, and he's very much just like, we just got to kill this bastard. He's a ghost. Ghosts deserve to die. We just need to keep getting through this. And is basically like giving her like no empathy at all.
It's interesting too to have the ticking clock thing, but because he only haunts the road on this anniversary, on this day,
few specific hours,
they have like, if they're gonna catch him, they got to do it now. So it's funny, even in the context of like, they were gonna basically sacrifice this mission to it shows that they're good guys. We save people. The saving people is first, hunting things is second, right? And that they were going to do that, but now that like that's not an option, they're like, you have to come with us. We have to do this because otherwise someone else is going to get in a car accident, like you just were. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Searching the outside premises, Greeley attacks Molly and Dean shoots him away. They then head down a brick path to Greeley's house. Dean says, follow that creepy brick road, which is clearly a wordplay on the famous line, follow the yellow brick road from the timeless classic, The Wizard of Oz from 1939, which contains no headstones outside. So they're looking around. They're trying to figure out, like, did she put a headstone? Was she buried in any specific notable spot?
Yeah.
Sam and Molly check the upstairs of the house in search of any papers or records showing where Greeley is buried. One of the rooms holds about every piece of mail and receipt they have ever had. Molly picks up a photo album containing pictures of Greeley and his wife. Molly asks Sam how such people can turn so evil. This is a really interesting part of the episode because Sam responds that there's usually some sort of unfinished business keeping them here, something along the lines of revenge, love, or hate.
Yeah.
There's a part of them that just can't let go, and he's being very like kind to her. And they have it's almost, it's like, I think it's like a 3-4 minute scene.
Yeah.
He's basically talking about, he's like, they don't start out bad. Like, nobody dies evil. It's a thing that happens over time, and as they're sort of like stuck in these loops, and people get worse and worse.
Yeah, he's basically, what he's basically describing is like a form of like, it's almost like solitary confinement. They slowly lose their minds or lose their their hearts or whatever.
Yeah. Of course, then Dean comes in being completely unempathetic and basically refers to he says Sam gets very J. Love Hewitt about ghosts sometimes.
I got a question, actually.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about this, once a year time frame and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're there because they want to confirm
Yeah.
it's a ghost, come back,
Yeah.
finish the job, stuff like it, make sure it takes, that kind of thing. But theoretically, they just need to make sure the ghost doesn't kill anyone else tonight.
Yeah.
But then they could come back like in the daytime, look on the property. Like they could salt and burn the bones at any time, right? They don't have to do it just when the spirit's active, right?
That's interesting.
Because presumably the spirit is just like dormant or something. Like they could come back like any day
That's interesting.
to salt and burn the bones, right? I'm trying to think if we are ever given a reason why it's gotta be.
While the ghost is active?
Yeah.
I actually don't know because it's spooky.
I mean, I go with it. When they say that, I go like, oh, of course, we got to do this tonight. But then I was just thinking about it. I was like, do we?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not.
Because also in the show, I feel like by the time they're going to salt and burn the bones, it's almost always also at night when the ghost is out.
Yeah.
So we only ever see it in the context of the ghost is active and then they do it and then the ghost burns up. But it was like they could just go at like 11 in the morning and do it and the ghost's not out.
I mean,
on a different day, and then the ghost just wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I think typically there's a situation where they have to do it at night because it's usually like in a graveyard. But in this situation, no, it doesn't. I guess they really could come down at any time.
I guess the only thing is they wouldn't be able to know for sure that it worked, that he's not tied to something else until the next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. We solved it.
Yeah.
So Dean makes a shitty comment about Sam being like Jennifer Love Hewitt. This is a reference to Jennifer Love Hewitt and her show Ghost Whisperer, which occurred
was that on back then?
2005.
God, I thought that was so much later.
No.
Weird.
This episode of Supernatural parallels Ghost Whisperer's format of helping spirits pass on to the afterlife.
Interesting.
Dean then reports that there's nothing downstairs inside of the farmhouse, giving any lead on whereabouts Greeley's body could be. Pulling out the dresser from the wall, Dean then finds a small door leading to an attic. After breaking the door open with his foot, oh God, just break me open with your foot.
Oh, Jesus.
They find the remains of Greeley's wife.
Salt and burn his bone.
Yeah.
Right?
Wait, what? She apparently hung herself, most likely because she couldn't bear to be alone. Oh, God, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's so sad.
My wife won't have that issue. He's gone.
Party!
Outside, Sam and Dean carefully carry her body downstairs and outside and bury her remains beside the front step because they feel she deserves to be put to rest.
Okay, sorry. I got a lot of thoughts in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a criticism. But just to be safe.
Yes.
Because they still don't know where his skeleton is. But just to be safe, shouldn't they salt and burn hers in case the thing he was attached to was her?
I don't think that works like that. You can't get attached to somebody else's body.
No, but I mean, like, you stick it around because maybe his unfinished business was related to her. So it's like, shouldn't we, at the very least, get rid of this? And then when we find his body, we'll burn that too. And then we've taken out two possible anchors for this ghost.
Unless maybe the whole thing that he's been connected to was the fact that his wife was just hung up there and nobody ever found her.
That's true too.
So burying her properly could also have potentially done that.
See, I just always want to go and burn stuff.
I know you do. I can tell it's eating away at you. You pyro.
Why aren't they burning more things?
Yeah. This is another really interesting thing because they start having another conversation sort of about like it's important for them to be laid to rest. Like they're explaining like why it's important, but that also brings up the conversation where they're like, Molly's going like, what happens when you get rid of their bodies and like their ghosts disappear?
And they have a very honest like kind of like we don't really know.
Yeah, she's just like, well then why do you do like? How, he's just like, all I know is they're not here anymore.
Again, a great episode for like the ethics of hunting.
Yeah,
it's one thing where we have like an episode where it's like, are vampires bad or whatever? Because like they exist, they're corporeal. But now we're even getting into like, should we be killing ghosts are we killing ghosts?
Well, also it's just
can you kill a ghost?
I think they just go into a better place. Oh, you mean when their entire body bursts into flames? Yeah, I'm sure that's how you get to heaven.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Like, you can tell these guys have told themselves something to make themselves feel good, but they have, like, literally zero information.
Yeah. If anything, it's like once you start pulling the pieces together, it's why I love the show so much, right? Because they're just like going, oh, yeah, I guess that's probably not a great thing. Anyways, don't worry about it.
It's true, yeah. We're pulling at threads in a way that doesn't, like...
That doesn't help the show. If anything, it just, like, makes it more complicated to write the show.
I mean, that is true, but I was going to say, it doesn't break the show. Like,
No.
they're not pulling at the threads, and then you go like, oh, yeah, this is fucking stupid. They're pulling at the threads, and you go like, oh, shit, I hadn't thought about that. And then they're like, but we are thinking about it.
Yeah, don't worry. We're a few steps ahead always.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, I think.
But yeah, they basically just go like, I hope they go somewhere better, when they burn into flames.
Well, too late to know.
Yeah, oops. So they go back inside Greeley's house. Molly is in the kitchen looking through the photos in the album. Sam tells Dean that they should tell Molly the truth about David. Dean objects, saying that he feels sorry for her, but that they need to stick to the plan and get her out, and then they'll tell her.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they hear the same song from the car playing now in the house. Dean walks slowly into the other room and finds the music coming from a jukebox, which was unplugged.
Yeah.
Molly, standing by the window, starts screaming as Greeley smashes through the window and grabs her out of the house. But as fast as Sam and Dean can respond, Greeley and Molly have disappeared.
Yeah.
Back inside the house, Sam and Dean search for leads about where Greeley's body could be. And Sam looks at one of the photos in the album, and that was taken outside of the hunting cabin February 6, 1992, about 2 weeks before the accident. However, a tree appears to be missing. So there's a tree there that wasn't there like right before they buried. It suddenly dawns on Sam that it's an odd country custom to plant a tree as a grave marker.
Yeah, yeah.
So now they're going, oh, I think we know where his body's probably buried.
Exactly. Dean's
a little freaked out by Sam's level of knowledge and makes a comment, you're like a walking encyclopedia of weirdness. So Sam and Dean rush to the hunting cabin, where they see Molly hanging by her hands from the ceiling. Greeley circles around her several times, using his fingernails to dig marks through her face and stomach.
It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Again, great effects. Very, very good, like, visual effects work in this episode.
Well, I mean, they've got... you can see that using a single location...
Yeah.
Like,
it's a very focused episode.
There's not a lot of characters. They probably have some extra budget to potentially, like, up the effects
that's true,
and
too,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dean bolts through the door, firing a round of rock salt at him. He vanishes, but only fools Dean as he reappears right behind him, throwing him against the wall. Greeley grabs a knife from the wall and comes up to him, attempting to stab Dean in the heart. Sam comes to the rescue as he salts and burns Greeley's remains outside of the cabin.
Yeah.
As his bones burn, Greeley is engulfed in flames, disintegrated into dust.
Yeah.
So obviously he went to heaven.
Yeah. It's all going to be all right.
Yeah, he's going to do great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you know how you scream when you're heading into heaven? Sam and Dean and Molly.
That makes me think of that episode of Lower Decks where the one crewman like ascends to like godhood.
He's like screaming.
Yeah, he's like, it's too much.
Yeah, it hurts. That is really good. That is a great scene.
Oh, God. That's what I just thought of.
I can't wait for that show to have a second season.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Because it's like they've figured out what works now and that people like it. They're only just going to get crazier.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Can't wait. Sam, Dean, and Molly then head back up to the road to the Impala. But Molly is persistent and demands to know what happened to David. Sam tells her that David is alive and that they'll take her to see. Because she's basically like, oh, I get it. Greeley killed David. Why didn't you just tell me Greeley killed David? And they're like, actually, Greeley didn't kill David.
Yeah.
David is alive.
Yeah.
And they're like, but we can take you to see him. And she's like, what? And so they drive and they pull up outside of David's house.
Yeah.
Molly gets out and walks up to the door, but stops as she looks through the window and sees David kissing another woman.
Yeah.
J'accuse.
Yeah, that son of a bitch caused a car accident
and then
so he
immediately
could cheat.
Yeah, so he could immediately go bang another girl.
Yeah.
The boys explained to her that the other woman inside is David's wife. Oof. That moment.
I know. This episode has got it's such a 180 from the horror of the dark woods, where it's like fuck, and then it's like, okay, let's slow this down and punch you in the stomach a bunch.
Like, could you imagine if that was you and you get in a car accident and then suddenly you go back to they go take you to a different house that's not yours, and they go, yeah, there's your wife and that's her husband, and you're like, wait,
what?
Yeah,
but
like that's
just.
Is that
we were just arguing about directions.
So fucked up.
I don't care about the directions thing that much.
It's fine.
I can change.
Yeah. Divorce her. 15 years ago, Molly and David hit Jonah Greeley with her car, and David survived. Every year on the anniversary of his death, Jonah Greeley decides to punish someone for what happened to him. Yeah. That someone is always Molly.
Yeah.
She's been appearing on that road every year, because there's a moment too where she goes, but I like, it just happened. They're like, yeah, when? And she's like, what year? And she was like, 1982. And they're like, this is 2007. Like,
yeah.
She is appearing on that road every year. Several flashbacks of the scene are shown at this point of her appearing all the time.
Yeah.
The first scene goes back to the Impala before they run into Molly. Sam and Dean are now discussing the case right before they basically run into her. Right. And at that point, there have been 12 accidents over the past 15 years. 5 of them fatal, all happening that same night. The next flashback shows Sam and Dean at the library looking up news articles on the accident, as well as them talking with David. They also show the scene in the Impala right before Molly darts out in front of them.
Yeah.
That's when Molly realizes that she's really dead, and that she's here in spirit form.
That's the craziest part of this thing, is like, yeah, accidents have been caused along this route because of this story playing out.
Yeah.
But it's a ghost haunting another ghost.
Yeah.
That's the most fucked up thing about this episode, is that Greeley's ghost is like annually haunting Molly's ghost.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know she's a ghost.
Yeah.
It's great. That what a twist. A really great twist, considering that we've already had 12, 13 ghost episodes of Supernatural in 2 seasons. That it's such an interesting little inversion of it. And I mean, and again, the whole point of the episode is I have so many more questions about the afterlife.
I know.
Oh, fuck. It's like, she didn't even know. It's been happening for 15 years and she still doesn't know.
It's crazy.
So it's how does memory work? No wonder people lose themselves or, lose their humanity as ghosts or whatever. It's, fuck.
So Molly is obviously in shock to realize the truth about what had happened.
Of course.
She still feels like she needs to talk to David. Sam and Dean tell her that if she wants to go inside, they're not going to stop her. But they warn her that she's going to freak him right out of her life.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad. To see your ex suddenly show up through the door, oh God. They feel that she if she lets go of everything that's happened, she'll move on to a better place.
Yeah, she's like, will I also burst into flames?
Yeah, I know. Not looking forward to that part. As much as Molly wanted to see David, she understands that the boys are right and agrees to let go. She walks into the glare of the sunrise and is taken away with the light. When Molly walks into the light at the end of the episode, it's also similar to how the episodes end in Ghost Whisperer. Every episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Every episode ends that way?
Yeah.
Ugh.
The show has obviously referenced it earlier. Here's the thing that sticks in my mind, though. So she gets to walk into the light. So when the other ones burn up into flames,
they're going straight to hell.
That even more specifically goes, well, that's not the same place.
Yeah.
Now you're drastically showing.
But that also poses a crazy question, because we've
had no reference of
the one other episode where we were like, is it heaven? It was like, no, priest ghost.
Yeah.
And then he burns up into
flames.
Yeah.
Messed up.
Does that mean that priest went to hell?
I mean,
oh, Jesus.
Right?
Yeah. all priests
Yes. Hashtag all priests.
go to hell.
Yeah, all dogs go to heaven.
Yeah.
All priests go to hell.
Yeah. Except the point of all dogs go to heaven is that they don't all go to heaven.
Yeah.
Ugh. What's his name? Charlie Barkin or something like that?
Charlie Bark.
Wasn't that the dog's name?
Maybe.
Charlie B. Barkin or something?
That's a really cute name.
Yeah. Yeah, he went to hell.
As Sam and Dean head back.
Sam and Dean sent him there.
That's
They
right.
salted and burned a dog's bones. And they sent Charlie B. Barkin straight to hell.
Charlie be barking in hell now. He's howling the night away.
How Supernatural never did an All Dogs Go to Heaven crossover.
I mean, that's true.
Ugh.
They get barely close, but
That's true.
as Sam and Dean head back to the Impala, they look back at the sunrise and hope she's going to a better place. I mean, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
But again, both. How many episodes do they have to look at each other and be like, "Are we the bad guys?"
I know. At the conclusion of the episode, Dean calls Sam Haley Joel. This is a reference to Haley Joel Osment. In The Sixth Sense, Osment's character is revealed to Bruce Willis at the end of the film that he's been a ghost all along. Similarly, Sam reveals to Molly that she died 15 years prior to the events of the episode.
Yeah.
Also, spoilers for Sixth Sense, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
I guess I feel bad about that.
Yeah, man.
That is the end of the episode.
It's both a heavy episode and also like somewhat like touching. I don't want to say uplifting, but it's got like a good like emotional payoff, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that we love where other than this sort of like last, kind of act, it's essentially a bottle-ish type episode. We're in the woods. We're in that cabin.
Yeah.
We're on the road. It's technically multiple sets, but it's like we're containing it. This is a very stripped down episode. It's the guys, it's Molly, it's Greeley, and that's basically it. Essentially, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good setup. I think it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of this episode?
I mean, this is one of my favorite episodes, I think. I always go back to this one because it's just so interesting, right? Like, it's such a great twist on the format. It like humanizes ghosts in a way that they've never done before.
I know, it's just we're slowly taking we've spent all this time building up to like, fuck yeah, kill the ghost, and now we're like, oh, can you do we have to?
Yeah, like
should we?
This is not a good thing at all.
Yeah.
This
show doesn't like this show has no qualms about making you feel like a piece of shit. And I kind of love that about it.
It constantly goes like, yeah, this is the right way. Why did you think that way? That's awful.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
For me, what I find so fascinating is that they do this. I mean, we didn't talk about it, but basically like the then of this episode flashes a bunch between them, basically talking about like, the question of, do they hunt evil or do they hunt supernatural things?
Yeah, because there's a distinction,
right? But
Yeah.
to Dean, there's not. His mindset was just been, well, no, like we just hunt supernatural things.
To Dean, supernatural equals unnatural, and therefore kill it. Yeah,
Like that. And Sam's going like, I think we need to be having a harder question. But the problem is as soon as they do that, they then have to go, oh, that means that we have done bad in the past.
they have to own it. Yeah,
Yeah, like,
and there's like, these guys are not exactly like the most emotionally stable to begin with.
well, Sam and Dean, no.
The idea that now, like, in addition to all of their other shit, they've got to start retroactively second guessing themselves or things like that.
Yeah.
The fact that it does make that job not easy. Now it's not just like roll into town, kill a ghost. Now it's like roll into town and like
Figure out if it's like,
get to know a ghost well enough to determine whether or not they should put it down. And
it makes their job a lot harder, right?
Yeah, and we recorded these out of order, so I won't say any spoilers, but this episode and then next week's episode are like back to back, like fucks kind of this season.
They really like make you like
the hunting profession this season comes under direct attack between all the Gordon stuff, the vamp stuff, the stuff this episode, the stuff next episode. There's this season is really like, it's very, we're asking a lot of questions about hunting as a profession here.
Yeah.
I'm
going to give this 5 out of a possible 5. Definitely not going to heaven, burning up ghosts.
You're giving this the full 5. Yeah, this is a great episode. The visual effects, like I said, are really strong. I like how contained it is and stripped down. I think like the terror is good. I think the reveal is awesome. That's sort of like you know something's up, and then we're inching closer and closer to it.
I didn't know the first time I watched it. Like, I didn't know. I found out almost when she did.
Yeah, exactly. The emotional turn in the back part of the episode too, with David and stuff like that. I think that's all super well done. I don't know that there's no like problematic dialogue that sticks out to me, or like, it's not like an episode like Bugs where I was like, wow, the editing was bad, but there's something about this one where it's like, it's a great episode, but for some reason it's not, I don't hold it up with,
really,
not with like the best one, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm gonna give this 4.5 Rising Suns.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What song you totally knew was in this? And
a song that I always knew was here.
Well, that is it for this week. If you have maybe we missed something in one of these episodes.
Unlikely.
Unlikely, yeah. Or you want to just say hi. We love the emails. We love to get those. So why don't you send us one at
ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com.
We're also having a ton of fun chats about the boys and a little bit about the show on our social media platforms.
We're at GhostfacersPod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We got one at the beginning of this episode. We love those reviews. Give us 5-star reviews.
Yeah, hit us up. We love that. It helps the show. It helps like bump us up in the charts and stuff, especially on Apple. So
now that we're an award-winning,
I mean, this is coming out the last week.
No, this is coming today.
Yeah, this is coming out now.
Yeah. So no, we don't know yet.
But
if you have a Canadian podcast,
possibly by next week, we'll know if we won a Canadian Podcast Award as Best Comedy Podcast.
Ridiculous.
So silly.
So ridiculous.
Thank you, anyone who nominated us to get us to that point.
If in the next few, because I think we only have a few days left, but if you have a Canadian podcast and want to sign up for Canadian Podcast Awards, you can vote for us.
Yeah, canpodawards.ca. Yeah. You can register and you can vote there.
Speaking of podcasts that are also nominated for an award,
we are multi-nominees.
We are 40% of the top 5 Canadian funniest podcasts.
Our other podcast was also nominated for Best Comedy Podcast. That's the Dr. DC podcast. We talk about comic books.
You must just assume that everybody from all of our like American listeners are like, God, they must have like 6 podcasts in Canada.
Like, wow, Canada's like desolate.
Yeah, it's like 2 of the same from the same people.
But the real truth is that
we're genius. We're comedic geniuses.
Well, we're different. Like all of the other podcasts that are nominated in the categories we're nominated in are like,
that's a nice way that teachers used to describe
I would call them like docuseries level. Even if they're not documentaries, they're all produced as like a thing your parents would listen to on NPR.
Yeah.
And then we talk about
farts.
Mortal Kombat.
Yes. So it's either going to help us or more likely drastically hurt us.
Or we'll be banned from future nominations.
We're banned from making podcasts in Canada.
Yeah, the Supreme Court weighed in.
Yeah. These guys are a problem and need to be stopped. But yes, we have another podcast.
Yeah.
The Dr. DC podcast, all about DC comics, movies, TV shows. Whether you know a ton about the most like obscure characters or you know nothing, you just know that Batman might be a superhero, we have an episode for you. All you have to do is come listen to us, and we're on all of your other platforms.
That's right.
That is it for this week. Say goodbye, bitch.
Jerk.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.